Hey Dr. Grissom, this is Blake. Alright, here's the Udemy courses for this week. Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and Section 5. Okay, so... Alright, so we made the swipe app this week. It was pretty interesting doing all that animation. This was all pretty normal stuff. All the good stuff was in the deck file. So, recorded the animated thing. I was surprised that it wasn't something that we had to install separately. I didn't know that it was just in React Native the entire time. That's kind of upsetting. I really liked being able to use like default props. That was a really interesting thing to find out. Let's see, the pan responders. This one, see the first one. This one just starts. You know, like when the phone or the screen detects input. This one's when it's moved on the screen, and this is when like the finger is released or whatever. So it was interesting how it can just kind of read that, and it does all that for you. It seems really useful, a lot more simple than I expected it to be, and it was. I wish he had explained the difference between using state and just this dot, because it seemed like he kept saying that this was the convention right here, like using this dot state, even though they don't interact with state at all or change it. But he didn't really say why this was the convention and why this method wasn't used, even though this basically does the same thing, but it's more intuitive. So I was wondering about that. Let's see. Also, I'm wondering if this line of code, if it's still relevant to just Android devices. I know he made the videos a while ago, and there's been a lot of changes, so I'm wondering if an Android program still needs this line of code right here, and then also what it does. He didn't really go into detail about that, he just kind of threw it in there. So this was interesting how we decided to do all of this and pass in data as an array, and then the ternary operator. Haven't really seen that yet. I remember going over it in Codecademy, but totally forgot about it, and it seems really helpful here. All the different values were really, like, how to manipulate them. It seemed a bit more simple than I expected. It makes a lot of sense, but it's and like having like a function to kind of determine like the screen width and everything, that seems really helpful. This was a really interesting like couple of sections because it was just so much like more intuitive and helpful. Because like we went over most of my like main questions regarding app development, like how does it read input? You know, how does the app know? And then how does it time things, and how does it, you know sizes and adjust to different devices? So it's really been interesting this week. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. Definitely the best week of code so far, I think. The only thing I'm a bit apprehensive about is that we're learning all of these things that make a lot of things we have learned easier, like the difference between, animated and layout animation, but I'm not positive I have a firm grasp on the previous things that we learned, so I'm worried about kind of overriding them all and learning all of these new things and then just not knowing what anything is doing. But I doubt that will happen. It's getting pretty intuitive, so yeah, and I will have my my expo on my phone at the end of this video. So, all right.
Okay, so here's the app. It moves around just fine. You can see that the cards are stacked. It bounces back and everything. The button works. It kind of flashes every now and then when it bounces back, like the image did before. It swipes left fine. Swipes right fine. Sometimes it's a little laggy, like it won't just be fluid. It'll do that, like just kind of stop for a second, but it keeps going. And then that's kind of strange too. And then I got this at the end. That doesn't work, but all right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.